and welcome to the Wanskuck Weekly Storytime. I'm Abby, the Youth Services Librarian here at the Wanskuck Library, and this week we'll be reading The Very Last Castle by Travis Jonker. The Very Last Castle. In the middle of a small town stood something you might not expect, a castle. It was, in fact, the very last castle. There had been others, but over time they had all been taken down or fallen apart or been destroyed. All but one. For reasons no one could remember, no one ever came out, and no one was allowed in. Up in the tower, the guard watched the townspeople silently pass by. And then there was Ib. Every day she walked past the castle, all alone. Every day she stopped. She looked up. She saw the lone guard standing stone still. Look! Since no one had been inside the castle, the townspeople had ideas about who or what was in there. Snap, snap, snap. Monsters, said Miss Wicks. Thud, thud, thud. Giants, said Alex. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Snakes, said Ib's grandfather. Maybe it's something terrible, Ib thought one day. Or maybe it's something else. Look! The next morning, Ib walked past the castle. She stopped and looked up at the tower. No guard. Ib had an idea. She floated across the moat, walked up to the door, and with all the strength she had, knock, knock, knocked. Hiss! Ib didn't stop running until she was sitting in her desk at school, scared and out of breath. Maybe Grandpa was right. She didn't tell anyone what had happened. Not long after, an envelope arrived. Inside was an invitation. Your presence is requested at the front gate of the castle on Sunday at noon. Everyone told Ib to stay away. Monsters, said Miss Wicks. Giants, said Alex. Snakes, said her grandfather. Maybe it's something terrible, Ib thought. Could it be something else? On Sunday, Ib stood all alone outside the front gate. With a loud thump, the drawbridge began to lower. She trembled. She looked up at the tower. Empty. She took a deep breath. Slowly, Ib did something none of the townspeople had ever done. She walked inside. It turned out Miss Wicks and Alex had been right. There were monsters, and there were giants, but no snakes. Welcome, came a voice, a kind voice. It was the guard. He removed his helmet. He was much older than Ib had expected. I'm the last one left. May I show you around? For the rest of the day, Ib and the guard, his name was William, visited every corner of the castle. Before long, they were pruning near the great hall and harvesting by the palace. Thud, thud, thud. They ended up where they had started. Why now? Asked Ib. All the other castles are gone, answered William. Someday I will be too. I want someone brave to take my place, someone curious. Will you help me? Ib thought about William, all on his own. She thought about her family and friends outside the castle. She thought, and then she knew. Yes, it replied, but I have a request. In the middle of a small town stood the very last castle. Sometimes someone came out, and everyone was welcome in. The end. For our crafts this week, we are going to make our own castles using paper and glue. So you just need one piece of construction paper for your background. I'm using green, like a nice grassy field or some nice grassy hills. A glue stick, and then another sheet of construction paper that you can cut into any shapes you like. If you come into the library and grab a craft bag, I will have already cut these into shapes for you. I cut mine using tangram shapes as our guide, so we have a lot of different types of shapes and several of each type to work with. Okay, I'm going to get them all spread out. And then what I'm going to do, I want a nice clean surface to work from, and I know how many pieces I have in what shapes, so I'm going to slide these over to the side. And once I've picked a piece to start with, I'm going to start working. And then I will cut back to when mine is glued down, starting with this piece as the base. Okay, and with that, all of our pieces are glued down into our nice castle. I used all of my pieces, and I might go back and make sure some of them are really glued down, but you certainly don't have to use all of them if you want a smaller castle. You could also go and cut out more if you decide part of the way through you want a bigger castle. Now that I'm done, I might go back in with my crayons and decorate the surrounding fields, add some of the trees like in the castle from the book, or I might go in and add like a nice sky or anything else you'd like. And that is it for our craft today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you'll join us next week when we read Can You Hear the Sea by Judy Cumberbatch. Thanks again. Bye.